Whether we outwardly admit it or not, everyone wants to be liked, especially in the dating world. You can't get anywhere if women don't like you. It's also true just being around others. You'll struggle getting jobs, dates, resources, commitments, all of the things you might need if people dislike you. This video is about 5 awful habits that will make people dislike you. Sometimes you're not aware of what you're doing, and it can be annoying, distracting, or downright rude. If you do any of these 5 things, get honest about what you're doing and how you can work to change it. Let's get into these habits. Drew, let's get it. Let's start with talking about yourself excessively. The thing about people who talk about themselves all of the time, they mean well, but most of the time they aren't self-aware. Typically, talking about ourselves excessively has a dual motivation. First of all, you want to seem important. Internally, you think, how can I be relevant if people don't know who I am or what I've done? Guys who are approaching women think, let me tell her a little about myself. After you share your life story, you probably wonder why people have their eyes glazed over or have you tuned out. You're talking about you. You're not engaging about them. Most people are self-absorbed at some level. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It simply means they live in their own bubble and in their own head. So what is going on in their world isn't really about you, at least not initially. When you're talking too much about yourself, you seem self-centered, and more importantly, you seem not interested in them. If you want people to like you, show interest in them. Showing interest in others is paramount to becoming liked. So much so, let's try this exercise. The next time you meet someone, especially if it's a dating, getting to know a woman situation, I want you to do this. Introduce yourself and ask all about her. What's her favorite thing to do when she's off? What's her favorite hobbies? What kind of music does she like? All of the above. If she asks about you, just share a little bit about yourself. No longer than 45 seconds, maybe once or twice. The next time you speak with her, ask her about that first conversation. You'll be surprised that she's going to think this was one of the greatest initial conversations she's ever had. It's because you're listening and learning about her and not talking about yourself. Let's talk about being loud and obnoxious. It's easy to find the people that are looking for attention in any room. Those are most often people who are being loud and obnoxious. If you're in a social setting and you're being loud, you may as well have a sign on your chest that says, "Look at me." It's unnecessary, it's not flattering, and it's quite unbecoming. Being loud is often a mask for insecurity. Some people don't believe they're capable of having an interesting, dynamic conversation, especially in a group. Being loud is the way to stand out and be heard. Don't fall prey to that temptation. I would encourage you to consider that what you have to say is just as important and intriguing as anyone else. Trying to stand out often makes you stand out, but in a bad way. Consider this approach. When you feel the urge to be loud, don't say anything. Be as quiet as you possibly can. Allow everyone else to speak. Read the room. Then respond to everyone's thoughts coherently with some insight. You know what? You'll come off as thoughtful, deep, charismatic, and definitely confident. If you pay close attention, you'll see that ladies like the quiet, confident type instead of the brash and bravado every single time. I can't stand this one. Constantly canceling and backing out. Listen, let me tell you, indecisive people work my left nerve. Like for real. People will agree to go on a trip or an event together, we make plans, and then they back out. That's incredibly frustrating. If you're that guy and you're unsure if you want to go, don't commit. Simply say, that sounds great. I'm not sure I can attend. Let me get back to you by this date. Everyone's on the same page. No harm, no foul. When people make plans, they make plans with the people who agree to attend. They set up excursions, dinner reservations for a certain number of people, buy tickets to ball games, reserve hotel rooms, and many other things that require knowing how many people are attending and often paying for those people in advance. Don't put them in a bind. Make sure you let people know where you stand so you can stay on their good side and not put these people in a precarious position. All right, let's get real. Lacking basic hygiene and grooming, not a good look. It's incredibly important to take care of your grooming needs. If you aren't aware, nose hair and ear hair, man, that isn't sexy. Get a trimmer and take care of that. If you have hair on your back, arms, chest, it's a good idea to groom those places as well. Whatever style you want to do is fine, but lack of care, that's not a style. Do whatever is necessary to make sure you smell great. Not good, but great. Remember, women are often more sensitive to scents than we are. If you want her to remember you, don't have her remembering what you smell like when you aren't clean. Keep your hair on point. Shave. Keep your face fresh. What some people aren't aware of is that when someone doesn't smell good or they're unkempt, it makes those around them uncomfortable, and it's easy not to like someone because it's an avoidable and uncomfortable situation. If you take the time to take care of yourself, people will appreciate you for that. Finally, being negative and complaining. Life is probably shorter than most of us would like for it to be. That said, we don't have time for negativity and complaints. No one wants to hear it. No one wants to be a part of it. Let's add blame in this little negative soup as well. People aren't interested in hearing you place blame on others. Others will like you much more if you take responsibility for actions of yours and sometimes the actions of others, and they'll respect you for it. Being consistently negative is a terrible habit. Negativity is like poison, and no one wants to be drowned in your lack of an optimistic outlook. Find the good in as many things as possible. Harp on the good. Alleviate the negative. People around you will understand that you're the person that finds the good in everything, and they'll have good things to say about you, they'll like you, and they'll appreciate you. Take the time to learn to pay attention to reasons why people aren't rocking with you. Ask questions. Find out what the problem is. The more that you care about how you show up, the more you can build with personal development. Learning how to alleviate bad habits is more than just saying you'll stop doing something. It's being self-aware and finding the tools to make changes. If you're talking about yourself too much, stop talking and listen to others for context. When you're loud and obnoxious, realize you're trying to stand out, but standing out is more about presence and less about performance. Canceling and backing out's a bad look. So make decisions to move forward when you know you can make those decisions. Basic hygiene is a requirement, so make those steps habitual. And finally, being negative and complaining is a lack of accountability and responsibility. Take it upon yourself to do the best you can in any situation and find the good in it. Talk about those things. When you remove awful habits like these, you'll get a little taste of self-awareness becoming your superpower.